The LumiRank Top 150 just came out. The Top 50 technically ended yesterday, but about half an hour ago, the Top 150 full list came out, and I wanted to talk about the rankings overall. Overall, I don't have that many problems with it. I'm just a little bit surprised at a couple of things. So if you haven't seen them, you can go to the LumiRank website if you don't want to be spoiled by my video, but you probably already did by the thumbnail, maybe. Depends on when I make it, but yeah, let's talk about it. So here is the top 50. First off, Doramegi got number 1 over Akola. I was surprised at a couple of the top 10 placements. Not like super surprised. These were all players in my top like 13 to 15, being Shootone, Sonics, and Zomba making top 10. Although if you look at the results, it does make sense, especially with like loss quality and stuff like that. Because I think I had Gluto, Raru, and Syrup in the top 10 instead of Shootone, Sonics, and Zomba. But either way, that all kind of makes sense. The top 5 make a lot of sense. I think I put Hurt at number 4 when I made my video about it, just because he missed Kagadibi. So I thought that would be a bigger deal. But again, his loss quality was really good. That seems to be something very, very important. More so than placements is the head-to-heads. And I also thought just like Kagadibi would be weighted more, because that was really the only reason I put Akola over Doramegi, just because winning the biggest tournament or the most stacked tournament ever, I thought would be a little bit more impactful in terms of the rankings. So 1 and 2, I think, still makes sense if you look at it through more of a head-to-head angle, because like Doramegi basically just lost to other like top 10 players essentially. When we zoom out to the whole top 50, again, I think a lot of these players make sense. Lugi being that high was a little bit surprising, although he did of course have a really good Genesis, so I don't blame that, and he got a couple of good wins as well. I'm very happy to see Neo back in the top 50. I tweeted it, but it's crazy to me that Yaoda got top 31, because he literally like started his season in April. Like I think he played in Kagadibi, but like was not super warm, so he did like fine, but he didn't do fantastic. And then he just like didn't play for the first 4 months of the season, because it was like halfway in December all the way to like the middle of April he didn't play, which is kind of crazy. I'm really glad to see Darikusu up there because he's been doing fantastically. I'm a little bit surprised to see Maidodona HO be as low as 45. I thought he would be higher. Maybe I just haven't been paying as much attention to results of some of these other players, but also when I look at all the players above them, I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Those are really good players. 3 heroes in the top 50 is kind of insane with Shion, Akikusu, and Beast Mode Paul. Shoutouts Beast Mode Paul, by the way. But yeah, like these are obviously some of the best players in the world. Clearly, I mean, this is the ranking system, right? But it was really interesting seeing some of the discourse about like the, ranking overall. I know a lot of people saw Wrath at 40 and he top 8'd Kagadibi, which again, I was a little bit surprised at because I just thought placements would matter more, but at the same time, when you look at his head-to-heads, you would expect that to be a little bit better given some of his really good results and really good placements. You would expect like, oh, well, that came with a bunch of really good wins, but I think his best win at Kagadibi was like Taikei and Riddles and one more person, but I don't remember the third person, and Riddles didn't play enough to get ranked. Taikei is not in this top 50. Yeah, and a win over Ashimo and Yamanakshi and kept, but players I'm pretty sure all in the top 150. Ashimo was number 21. He was number 9 at the time, but he was 21 through the rankings. So even though a couple of his wins were top 50 in that season, they ended up not really being that much or that high into the top 50 in this current season, which is how the rankings work, which I think kind of makes sense. I've heard arguments both ways. I think both make sense to some degree, but I don't disagree necessarily with how this is, handled. But either way, had like really solid placements overall. I mean, top 8 at Luminosity, top 8 at Cavalier Clash, 9th at Level Up Expo, top 8 at Kagadibi, top 8 at Momocon. Like his worst placement this whole season, it looks like, was 9th, and then he gets top 40, but I guess it's just because of his wins versus his losses. Like, he didn't really beat a lot of people. He just kind of was solid overall and didn't get upset, but at the same time, he didn't make a lot of upsets overall. Granted, I still think that Wrath can be like one of the best players in the world. Like, I have no doubt that he will do better next season. But yeah, kind of impressive. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, also, I'm just going to give a little bit of shout-outs to Kid for being top 100. Let's go, me brawler. Also, I think Lunamato was in the top 150 somewhere. Yeah, he's right there, so shoutouts to Lunamato. But it was honestly insane to me to see Meister, who won a major this season. I think it was the smallest major of the season, or like bottom 3 biggest majors of the season, but he won a major and didn't get top 100. That's crazy. That is honestly insane that can happen. There's not really like anything to say about that, because it's just like, oh, well, he didn't go to as much in a couple of tournaments. He did poorly, and then he like won a major, but it wasn't as big of a major. But that's still crazy. You can win a major and not be ranked top 100. And still meet the attendance requirements. It's not like he was honorable mention or something like that. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, overall, I'm happy to see a couple of names in this top 25 as well. Seeing Lima, Cola, and Peanut here, of course, my boy Shiny Mark repping the Pika in this day and age. But again, like obviously you saw some drop-offs from some people. You had Light, who I think was 4th last season, end up getting 16th. Again, he didn't have as good of a season, and again, I expected him to do well in Japan, and then he didn't. We have a couple of Europeans here, which is always going to be nice for them because it'll be hopefully maybe a little bit easier maybe to get a major for Europe because they have very few, because they have obviously Gluto, Lugi, Crepsele, and then Ruffalo, and then still a couple of Europeans were in this top 100, being Siski, Andres FN, nope, that's Riddles, being Siski, Tarek, Kid, and probably a couple more in this top 150. So I really hope that Europe gets more majors. Oh yeah, there's Super Semi right there, so that makes sense. But yeah, I hope they get more majors. M Popos Rosa is here as well, just because I feel like Europe is still slightly underrepresented. But again, that's why I'm really happy to see Lugi in the top 25, because he put in work and he did overall very well this season, and being top 25 is really difficult, especially considering some of these Titanist names that are down here. Again, you have Wrath, you have Akekusu, you have Snow, who was top 20 last season. Rocky's been doing really well. Yaoda is insane. Beast Mode Paul won a major. Mutace is, of course, a huge threat, and being like in the echelon with those players is really, really nice. Also, shout out SoCal, getting Monty on the map. Monty, the only SoCal in the top 50. And honestly, something insane is the fact that there are 3 Luigis in top 50 with Raru, Lugi, and Kiarash. Again, based on the results, it makes sense, but it's just a huge shift in the meta for sure. Like, again, it's so funny because we have like some like really campy characters, obviously like Min, Steve, Snake are like pretty campy, and then you have like the hyper touch of death characters like Kazuya, Luigi, Falco to some extent. So it's really interesting to see the stratification of this meta, which I will be talking about in a video. Also, shout outs to Umeki for top 50. We got 2 Peaches in the top 50, which is really, really nice. I'm really interested to see where this meta goes, whether we're going to get a shift towards more campy playstyles or more aggressive, because again, we have a couple of aggressive players. I want to make it very clear. Spargo is an aggressive player. Zomba is an aggressive player. Obviously, all the Luigi's are going to be aggressive. Gluto's kind of in the middle because Wario kind of has to play that weird mid-range, but at the same time, he beats people's asses. And then, of course, we did see Light go down, but at the same time, he's still a really strong player. He can literally beat anyone in the world. I have no doubt about that. But at the same time, you have a couple of campier playstyles like Peanut kind of rising through the ranks. Granted, he was ranked last season, I think, like 37, so it's not like he went up a ton, but we do see like the passive, like I'm gonna just very much so not engage, obviously Shiny Mark as well in that position. So it's really interesting to see what's going to happen in the meta. The character distribution, of course, in the top 50 looks pretty much like, oh my god, these are all top tiers, and then Byleth is here for some reason. Shoutouts to Reno, he's incredible, he's so good. And then of course Toriguri in here as well. Shoutouts to Buzz making the top 50 again, love to Buzz. But yeah, it's like mostly top tiers and then like these 3 odd characters, because it's pretty hard to argue at this point that like at the very least Luigi isn't super meta relevant, Ryu isn't super meta relevant. Of course, like Sonic, Steve, Snake, those characters are going to be good. But then when you get into like the top 100, top 150, that's really when you get a lot of odder characters. You have multiple more Yoshis, you have Greninja here with Tarek, you have Free K-Flock Zelda, we have Furaramen's Isabelle, we have Zog's Duck Hunt and Jagabata's Duck Hunt, a couple more Diddy Kong's Zero Suit here as well. We even have Captain Falcon here with Karaage, and then you start seeing like more Shulks and more Pits. There's a Pit right here. Midorun was top 97 with, I guess, Pit and Dark Pit, so shoutouts. And we even have Mezcal up here with number 74 with the Ridley. So, you know, once you get down to like the top 150, that's when you start seeing a lot more different characters. You have double Pichu here with Yone P and Nador Yu, very nice next to each other, kept here with, you know, Isabelle. And then you start seeing characters like Sheik and Jigglypuff, Ice Climbers, because Big D's even down here. That's kind of surprising. I mean, I don't know what he went to, but it just, you know, he's really, really good. So I definitely think there's still a lot of character variety. Also, shout outs to Shiryuki with, I always say his name wrong, Shidayuki with Inkling. So again, there's a lot of relevant characters, which can sometimes be difficult. And of course, some of these top players also have those odd secondaries like Spargo's Piranha Plant for sure. That's a big one. Interesting thing is no Aegis mains in the top 50. Like I know Shuton's technically a co-main, but he has been playing a lot more Olimar recently than Aegis. And officially, we got a DK secondary in top 50 with Darikusu. Let's go. Oh, right. And Maidona's main DK. I forgot about that. So two DKs in the top 50. Let's go. And yeah, that's going to be about it for this one. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know what you think of the rankings. Let me know what you thought of the algorithm, because it's strange. I mean, again, I guess it makes sense that like they're favoring like loss quality and win losses because there were so many majors that like doing super well at a couple majors kind of doesn't matter as much because like so many players have done well at a bunch of majors. Again, it's still crazy to me that Meister wasn't top 100 with a major win, and then Akola winning the biggest tournament, or the most stacked tournament ever, and not being number one when he still had a good season. Like 33rd at Level Up Expo is not great, but still, like, going from 33rd to winning, I thought that would be weighed out a little bit different, but guess not. So thank you all for watching. As always, social media and partner stuff is down below, and I will see you all next time. Peace.